Hey, Craig Dostie here with Dostie's View, and I had someone email me with a question on bindings, TTS, NTN, 2-pin NTN, that sort of thing. So, I thought that this would apply. I think this is pretty common questions, okay? And it's a pretty common thing. And it does have to do with the binding, but it also has to do with tele technique. So, anyway, this guy Christian writes me and he says, "Look, I've been skiing axles for 6 years. I love them, okay? But I noticed the weight touring." I'm paraphrasing here a little. That's mostly what he's saying. So, here's the thing: he loves the tele sensation in the axle, but he doesn't like the tele sensation of what he calls pure NTN. So I'm guessing from that he's tried an Outlaw. He may have tried Lynx or Majo or Freeride. Regardless, okay, he's not real happy with it. And so in his head, what he wants is a 2-pin low-tech toe, but an axle cable. Yeah, I've been there. And just a little historical perspective, when NTN was first introduced, I loved it right away. But then when it came to market, I didn't love it because people were noticing toe pinch at the bellows. So I think what happened, this is speculation on my part, but Rodafella independently and Scarpa independently stiffened up their component in the boot binding system. And what came to market was a no Telemark needed binding that paralleled really well and was really hard to tele with. It took me a while, okay? I had to get invited to Mammoth by Mitch Weber, and he had to school me a little, and part of it was I needed to get on a better rig than what I was on, and I needed to adjust my technique. So here's now I don't, Christian's the guy that wrote me, and Christian, I don't know what you ski like. I've never seen you ski, okay? But I've seen this repeatedly over and over and over and over. If you're coming from 75 millimeter, you tend to weight your front foot first, and then as you go through the turn, you progressively weight the rear ski, especially as you cross the fall line, okay? And with the flex of a 75 millimeter boot, which is very smooth and consistent throughout its length, and with the bindings that give you added tension to do that so that you're balanced and not going to tip over on your toes, that's a very natural way to do the tele turn, okay? But NTN does not connect at the real heel. NTN connects midsole, okay, at the second heel, at the duct butt. And it's a different flexing sensation. The boot is not flexing the whole way through. I mean, it still does, but some boots actually have, there's a kink, if you will. It's not a smooth flex from toe to heel. There's a discontinuity at the second heel. Scarpa does a really good job, and it's very smooth, but you are being grabbed at the second heel, and what that does is it makes a much tighter connection to the boot, which results in better edging, which is one of the main benefits of NTN. So I love that about it, but it doesn't reward weighting the front foot first and then rocking your weight to the rear. What it does reward is what I call steering with the rear, where you weight the rear foot first before you cross the fall line, and then you come around, and it's more of what's called a two-footed steering technique, because you really don't put all your weight on the rear foot right away, but what you do is you put your weight on the rear foot a lot sooner in the turn before you cross the fall line. And I always tell people psychologically, You want to put 70% of your weight on the rear ski and 30 on the front. But that's just a mental thing. You're lucky if you can do 50-50. And especially if you weight the front foot first and then go to the rear. But if you weight the rear first, you will simultaneously weight the front at the same time. And what you'll get is a real 50-50. And what you'll find is that you are stronger in the tele turn throughout the whole turn. You're not just strong at the finish, you're strong all the way through, okay? And the reason that, especially with Measure and links, the reason you want to do that is because when you weight your front foot first, what you do is you lift your heel, and you're used to lifting your heel, and you don't get a whole lot of tension until you're up, whatever, 3, 4, 5 degrees. I mean, in some cases, like a switchback, you don't feel the tension on your rear foot until you got your heel lifted at least 10 degrees, okay? The axle, it's more like 3 to 5, but with Measure and links, we're talking fractions of a degree, okay? Let's call it 1 degree. And so it's instantaneous. And what that does is, as you get the pressure on the rear quickly, then pressure is transferred to the tip of your ski. And if you're putting your weight on your front foot and you get pressure on the tip of your rear ski before you're expecting it, it really screws up your balance, and you don't like it. You will not like it, okay? And here's the thing, if you did a do-it-yourself TTS with some kind of 2-pin toe and were able to cobble together a custom cable block and use axle springs and the axle yoke and all that, you would be able to get away with doing front foot first and then progressively weight the rear. But what you will find is you've got to make that transition really quick, because you're going to get even more pressure than you've ever experienced with an axle on the tip of your rear ski. And so that's why I recommend you learn how to steer with the rear. And Paul Parker taught me a really good technique to make that transition. So what you're used to doing is you weight the front, you progressively weight the rear. Then you step forward, weight the front, progressively weight the rear. And what Paul suggested to break that, okay, is when you go to move your rear ski to the front, instead of unweighting it, placing it forward and then rocking around, what you do is as you're finishing the turn, you drive more weight on the rear foot and you tighten it up to the point where you're kind of almost together, all right? And they're both weighted, and you use that both weighted condition, and you transfer the weight to the new rear ski and drop back and just come around, okay? And then again, when you're going to go to the next turn, you finish strong and you drive your rear foot forward until it forces you to transfer your weight to the new rear ski. And that gives you weighting on the rear ski at the beginning of the turn and allows you steer from the rear into your new turn. And here's the thing, NTN absolutely rewards that. So does 75 millimeter, but in 75 millimeter, you don't have to do that. Whereas NTN, you kind of have to. And once you figure it out, you will like it a lot, because you will be in even more control in your tele turn, okay? No more poodling, no more flailing. You'll be strong, start to finish in your tele turns, all right? So I hope that helps. Didn't really answer your binding question. If you go forward with a 2-pin axle, good luck, and let us know how it comes out, right? But I suggest you spend a half a day working really hard, borrow a pair of Lynx or Outlaw or Measures, and you will figure it out. I know you will. All right, till next week, this is Dostie. Free your mind. You don't need to follow the herd, and kick up your heels, and get down on your knees and spread telemark. See you next week. Adios.